What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today I've got a really new exciting expansion for Marvel Champions to show you. We've got a new hero pack which is revealed, which on the one hand, yay, and it looks good as well. And on the other hand, I showed you those leaks a couple of days ago, which I told you that I was fairly sure were legit. Yeah, we're talking about Venom today. Venom was not one of those leaks. To be clear, does not mean those leaks I showed you the other day are not true. It is absolutely possible that there are a couple of Guardians of the Galaxy packs which need to be done. And then we're going on to these other packs that I showed you the other day. However, it is a little bit weird that they would not show Venom, but they would show some later packs. For what it's worth, I still think those leaks I showed you the other day were good. However, shall we say things are getting slightly hairier. But let's worry less about that and more about Venom. It's been revealed, it is official, and it looks good. So starting off then with Flash Thompson. What we've got is a recovery of 4, which is alright, it's pretty nice. Hit point of 12, which is alright. And hand size of 6, which is fairly standard. But you've got a lovely skill here, which incidentally works for both Alter Ego and Hero Mode. You can control one additional upgrade that has a restricted keyword. Now, for those of you that may have forgotten, we have a bunch of restricted cards in Marvel Champions, and restricted cards basically say that you can only have 2 per player. Otherwise, they're basically just unplayable cards, i.e., they are particularly good upgrades that are restricted because they're too good, and if you had too many of them out, it would be unfair. Well, in comes Venom. By the way, some of you might be slightly surprised by Flash Thompson. It depends on how you feel about the comics. Most people know Venom more as Eddie Brock and as a bad guy. In the comics, Agent Venom, as he is often known, is Flash Thompson, yes, Spider-Man's childhood bully, with the Venom symbiote, who basically joins the Guardians of the Galaxy. And as someone who's read a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy, I am delighted by this. If you only know Venom from the movies, this might be slightly confusing and you might not love it so much. Bear with it, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a very cool character here. So you can have now 3 restricted upgrades. That's pretty cool. And during setup, you may discard cards from the top of your deck until you discard a weapon upgrade, and then add that card to your hand. And on the one hand, this has flashes of Captain America, and on the other hand, it doesn't. Because you see, if we look at Steve Rogers during setup allows you to search your deck and discard pile for Captain America's shield and add it to your hand. Well, the good news is this will get you a weapon. The bad news is it is random based on the ones in your deck, and also you're discarding cards from the top of your deck. And if it goes wrong, you could essentially end up halfway towards an encounter card before you've even started the game. Remember, when you run out of cards in your deck, you deal yourself an encounter card. That is not ideal. So yay, you get to start with a weapon, but there are going to be awkward games where you have to discard like a quarter or half of your deck before you even get rolling. Moving over into Venom, we've got Thwart of 1, which is bad, Attack of 2, which is fine, Defense of 2, which is fine. If we take the average stats as 2-2-2, this is slightly lower than we'd like. And then we've got that same hit point of 12, which is okay, it's pretty nice, it's a bit more than we expect generally. And a hand size of 5, which is what we expect. And again, you can control one additional upgrade with the restricted keyword. Obviously, it would be really annoying if when you flicked between modes, you would lose one of your upgrades. That would be sad. So we kind of have to have this in there. Okay, cool. Then we've got Symbiotic Bond, Resource, take a damage to generate an any kind resource. This is phenomenal. And we are going to have some really, really good cards we're going to see in a moment that are going to take advantage of this. Yes, you've got to take 1 damage, but it's taking 1 damage, right? You take damage all the time in this game. You got to manage it. You got to make sure you've got some healing, etc. But the fact of the matter is, you can often spare 1 damage. If you've played enough games, you'll know you can often spare 1 damage, and then you can generate an any-type resource, which could be absolutely huge. Nice. Now, we keep talking about these restricted upgrades. We have got a couple of examples that we have been shown. We have got ourselves Multi-Gun, a free cost upgrade, and you can exhaust Multi-Gun and do one of the following things. Either deal 2 damage to an enemy, and bearing in mind there's no charge counters or any of that, this is an every turn thing, as long as you're in hero mode, of course. Or you choose a player and deal 1 damage to each minion engaged with that player, take that Ultron, or remove 2 threat from a scheme. Yeah. Depending on the situation in the game, all 3 of those could be basically broken. We've also got Venom's pistol, a 1-cost upgrade with a hero interrupt. When you use one of Venom's basic powers, that is thwart, attack, or defend, you may exhaust it to give yourself +1 to that power for this use. So essentially it's a 1-cost upgrade that just sits there, and you can have an extra attack or thwart or defense once per turn. Although bearing in mind, remember, all your cards get readied at the end of your turn, so there's nothing to stop you using this to boost your attack or thwart, and then using it to boost your defense. It will just then be exhausted coming back into the hero turn. You have been warned. And Venom is Justice coming out of the box. We did need a bit of Justice in Guardians of the Galaxy now, didn't we? I believe this is the first Justice one, because Rocket was aggression and Groot was protection and Star-Lord is leadership and Gamora is aggression and Drax is protection. So I'm fairly sure this is the first Justice we've seen. We have a free cost upgrade. Now this does have 2 charge counters on, so when you use it twice it essentially becomes meaningless. You've got a hero action, you exhaust it, remove a charge counter, and confuse an enemy, dealing 3 damage to that enemy if it is already confused. Sounds pretty good to me, quite frankly. So yeah, this is quite nice. What's that? 3 restricted cards not enough for you? How about the basic upgrade, a free basic upgrade side holster? It is limited to 1 per player, but it allows you to control 1 additional weapon that has a restricted keyword. So we got lots of restricted cards, but we get to play 3 of them, and actually with side holster we get to play 4 of them. That sounds honestly pretty good to me. Now, you may wish to try and find those weapons at the most appropriate time. Might I introduce you to Locked and Loaded, a 0-cost event that lets you search your deck for a weapon and add it to your hand. So this one, there is no randomness, there is no discarding cards from the top of your deck. You just get to go ahead and find the perfect weapon. Sounds good, right? Sounds fun? Sounds nice? It bloomin' well should, ladies and gentlemen. It bloomin' well should. So that sounds kind of cool. We've then got some other cards we can take a little bit of a look at. We've got Run and Gun, a free cost hero action that readies Venom and each weapon upgrade you control. Now, I've just shown you a bunch of restricted weapons. They are really good. There is a reason why the restricted keyword exists. Now I'm showing you a free cost event that lets you ready all of them and Venom. And this goes back to what I was saying a minute ago. Yeah, fine. You do have to take 1 damage to get an any-type resource with Venom. Are you really telling me you wouldn't take 1 damage to activate Run and Gun when you've only got 2 other resources to use? I would. That sounds pretty good to me, because if I'm getting an extra use of Venom's pistol, which gives me an extra attack or thwart or whatever, and I'm getting an extra use of Multi-Gun to deal some damage or remove some threat, and I'm getting an extra use of Flash Thompson, and maybe up to 2 other restricted cards, yeah, I'll take that damage, quite frankly. We've then got Grasping Tendrils, a 2-cost event. When the villain initiates an attack against you, cancel the attack, and if you paid using only physical resources, stun the villain. Gee whiz, card like this Sure would be nice if we could, generate an extra physical resource when we wanted it to make sure we got the stun. Seriously, 2 cost, if you can get this working, a 2 cost card that both cancels an attack and stuns a villain, so essentially cancelling 2 attacks in a row. I would pay 1 resource to cancel an attack. So clearly I would pay 2 resources to cancel 2. This seems awesome. And along very similar lines, we've got behind enemy lines, a 2 cost event that removes free threat, but if you paid using only science resources, you can fuse an enemy. Again, sure would be nice to be able to, when we felt like it, generate a science resource. So that sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. Those pair of cards should have a huge impact. Now, we've also been told a little bit about the Nemesis set, and we've actually been shown all 5 cards from the Nemesis set, which is really unusual for an initial reveal. But 4 of them are in Raid Symbiote. Yeah, that's right. 4 Nemesis minions. And if anybody out there was wondering, well, hang on a second, we'll see. Do we have a ruling for how this will interact with Shadow of the Past? Why, yes. Yes, we do, ladies and gentlemen. It brings them all. It brings all 4 of them out in one go. But bearing in mind, and I have praised the card designers for this game over and over again, and I should, the game is awesome. But one of the things I praise them for probably the most is trying to make each hero and each villain feel like the hero and the villain. For someone that's grown up reading these comics, it really does make me super happy when you see the card designers doing such a phenomenal job with this. And the fact of the matter is, symbiotes tend to group up and attack. And I love that this is happening, because each Enraged Symbiote on its own is fine. Stats-wise, they're kind of rubbish. 1 scheme, 2 attack, 2 health. They're easily taken out. But 4 of them all coming out in one go? Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely. I mean, no, sorry, to be clear. But in terms of gameplay, it's terrifying. But in terms of game design, it's wonderful. Oh yeah, and they've got guard and they've got patrol. Well, guard says you can't attack the villain while these are out, and patrol says you can't thwart the main scheme while these are out. So not only do we get 4 of these coming out in one go, but they actually all come out and force you to deal with them. Now, as a boost card, they do come into play engaged with you, but bearing in mind, for them to come out as boost cards, they've got to be brought out by something like Shadow of the Past, be defeated, and then the villain deck needs to get reset, and then they come out. It's possible, but you're talking quite late game for that. I kind of love this. Oh, what's that? Those symbiotes are not quite annoying enough? Well, how about Clintar Frenzy? Now, again, we've got a 2 threat per player side scheme. This is not a side scheme that's going to take a million years to get rid of. It's quite quick and easy. But it does give you an extra encounter card every turn, which is quite sad. Oh yeah, and threat cannot be removed from it while a symbiote enemy is in play. So before you can even try and take down Clintar Frenzy, you've got to take out all 4 of the enraged symbiotes. And bearing in mind, until they've gone down, you can't go after the main scheme, you can't go after the villain. I really like this side scheme. This looks like an awful lot of fun. I mean, I know I say this every time a new hero pack is revealed. I'm excited. And you know what? I have yet to see a new hero pack be revealed and not be incredibly excited. So this honestly sounds pretty good to me. I like this, ladies and gentlemen. I like this a lot. There is an argument that we've got a weapon-focused hero coming hot on the heels of Rocket, who was in, obviously, Galaxy's Most Wanted, but I don't think that's I know something I've seen a bunch of people saying, but I don't think that's a particularly fair criticism, because honestly, the way the Agent Venom looks like it's going to be playing, and the way Rocket looks like he's going to be playing, I don't see these as the same kind of heroes at all. So yeah, fun times, ladies and gentlemen. Fun times. But now it's over to you guys. I want to know what you think about Agent Venom. I want to know how excited you are. I want to know if you really just wanted Eddie Brock. Although, let's be clear, does anyone honestly think that we are not at some point going to get a scenario pack with the Eddie Brock Venom? Of course we're going to get a scenario pack with the Eddie Brock Venom. Might take a little while. I've not heard any rumblings about getting one, but come on. You know it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. You know it's going to happen. Let's focus on the fun stuff we have got for now. And let me know what you think about this fun stuff in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that fun stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing is always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wassy Plays.